Hey guys, so that clip right there was me and trying to learn Overwatch. Let's just say I got Overwatch a couple months ago and I played it for a while and I kind of set it down and I've been really getting into it lately. But I've noticed that I have no clue what's going on in the game. And I've looked on YouTube and I've tried to find people that could explain, oh, what are good team compositions? Who is good? How do you play each character, each hero? And I really haven't seen much of that, which kind of disappointed me. And of course, most of you guys know that I very heavily play Rainbow Six Siege, which is also a pretty high skill game with lots and lots of stuff to learn. So I thought I know a lot of friends that have started playing the game recently, and a lot of them don't really know what's going on. They don't know who's good, what am I supposed to do, what are the objectives, etc. So I'm gonna try and start a new series, guys, and it's gonna be kind of Rainbow Six Siege basics. And this episode, the first episode, is gonna be based on really your team composition. It will go over a little bit about what the operators are and how they all play, etc. But most importantly is going to be trying to show everybody, okay, this is how you really can make a good team to be successful in this game. So that's going to be really the objective of this episode, and let's get right into it. So we have first up our anchors. That will be Rook, Doc, down to Maestro, Mira, Echo, and lastly Tachanka. The anchors are your guys that are going to sit on the objective and make sure nobody gets through. They most likely will be the last line of defense. They are very important to making sure that you basically stay on top and defend the objective. They can look at cameras while your roamers are out in the field trying to get kills. They are a very vital part, and almost all of them will be your 3 armor operators. Next one I want to cover are the roamers. So the roamers are going to be your Caveras, your Ellas, your Vigils, and also your Jaegers, your Bandits, and then your Pulse. These are the guys that they're going to go out into the field away from the objective. So let's say you have a basement objective. They're going to be going upstairs. They're going to be going confronting the attackers as they come into the building, trying to draw out as much time as they can and hopefully get a kill or two. So now these next operators I like to call kind of the semi-anchor, semi-roamers. They can really do either or. It depending on your preference. I've seen some people, for example, Castle's on this list right here. I've seen people use Castle in a way that he barricades up the objective, and he sits there and he waits for them to come at him. I've also seen times where he uses his barricades as an advantage to kind of funnel the opponents maybe upstairs or away from the objective, so then he's there, he's ready to pounce on them as they go through that hallway maybe or room. So all of these, and there's plenty of examples with it, so all of these semi-roamer, semi-anchors will be your smokes, your mutes, castle, capcan, frost, valkyrie, and lastly your alibi and your legion. All of these operators can be played however you feel fits your playstyle really. Now, of course, any of these operators, don't feel free if you're playing, for example, a Rook. Feel free to go outside of the objective and roam. Of course, I won't suggest that. This isn't an exact official handbook, but it's just from my time, from the first month I started playing this game and how I've seen the meta change. This is the most effective way to use these operators. Now, how do you effectively use these operators to the best of their advantage? Well, a good team composition will almost always be you need at least one anchor. Whether that's a Mira playing a little bit off the objective, maybe if it's a garage defense, maybe she'll be watching the garage door. Maybe it's a Rook sitting there on cameras, making sure that people stay up to date and maybe watching an angle or two. Or it's a Maestro and Echo moving around on their drones and their cameras. But you'll always need one anchor. Maybe two. Two is not bad. You never want more than 3 anchors, though, on a team. That is where you end up getting into the territory where you're kind of waiting for them to blow up everything around you, and you're not going to have any chance of surviving then. Next, you're going to probably want at least one, maybe two. Same with the anchors for the semi-anchors slash semi-roamers. Now, this one you can kind of flip-flop because let's say you have a Smoke, a Mute, and a Legion on your team, but you're all going to go and roam. Well, then it kind of changes it up everything. But the fact that they're in the middle and they can both play anchors is really important, and normally you're going to want to take those guys and not be exactly on the objective, but around the objective. So in the surrounding rooms, maybe watching that staircase that's leading up, all that good stuff. And lastly, you're going to have the roamers. The roamers are the most integral part of a defense in this day and age of Rainbow Six Siege. You're going to need at least two roamers and no less than two, or else you are not going to win that defense. Three is usually ideal. Maybe Smoke, a Mira, that covers your anchor and then your semi-anchor, and then you can go out with maybe an Ella, a Vigil, and maybe a Jaeger. And you don't have to have all three of them roaming, but you just need to have their high-power rifles and some machine guns ready for you to use at any moment and to help slow down the attackers. So next we are going to get into the attackers. This is where it gets so much more confusing because there's so many layers compared to defenders, which were pretty simple. You had the anchors, you had the semi-anchors slash roamers, and then you had the roamers. See, so this is going to be a bit more challenging. So on offense, you have the hard breachers, which will be your thermite and your Habana. You will have a soft destructor. So those are your Sophias, your sledges, your ashes, and lastly your bucks. You will have the frag operators, which is Finka, Fuse, Blackbeard, and Glaz. And lastly, excuse me, not lastly, we have a few more to go. We have your shield operators, which will be your Montaigne and your Blitz. Support will be your Thatcher. Where is she? There's your Twitch and your IQ. And then lastly, Disruption to help you get onto the objective, to help mess with the defender's head, to help you move onto the objective once you have realized and located it and have a plan in place, will be your Jackals, your Yings, your Lions, your Dokapis, and your Capitals. Those are the guys that are going to help you once you're on the objective. Now, most of these strategies are going to be coming from if you're playing on the bomb objective. Of course, it works really anywhere else. It doesn't specifically have to be that, but that's the primary game mode that me and most other competitive players will play at. So, the number one important thing when you are attacking is a hard breacher. If you can't get to reinforced walls, you're just not, you have a very slim chance of winning the round. Of course, they are adding Maverick in the next DLC, but that will be a little bit down the road, maybe a week or two, and we don't know how he's going to fit into the meta. But as for the Parabellum season, you should never, and I mean never, start a round without either a Habana or a Thermite on your team. You are asking to lose, and I know I sound very aggressive when I say this, but it is the most integral part, and you know what, of an attack. And feel free to go 2 hard breachers just in case if somebody gets spawn peeked or an early peek or anything like that, something wrong goes wrong. That made sense. Something wrong goes wrong. Something bad happens. Feel free to take the 2 hard breachers. Now, the attack is much more open when it comes to what you pick for your operators. So no matter what, you're going to need a hard breacher. Now, ideally, you're always going to want a soft breacher to get through those castle barricades, to maybe open up some of those unreinforced walls so you don't have to use a breaching charge that takes time compared to throwing a sledgehammer or opening it up with a skeleton key, or maybe even using a exothermic charge when you don't really need to, which is Thermite's ability. Next come up your support operators, that is your IQ, your Twitch, your Thatcher. These guys, it depends on the objective. It really does. You'll have some maps like Chalet where you know that 95% of the time they're going to go trophy room and kitchen first, and then they're going to move downstairs. Thatcher is probably the most important operator if they're going into a downstairs or garage, basement, etc. hold. He can get through those bandits, those Jaegers, really any kind of echo stopping device, plant stopping device. He is very important. Same with IQ and Twitch. IQ is on the lesser scale. She does not have as much importance as a Thatcher or a Twitch, but you can also be much more versatile. You're not gonna if they go a top floor defense while you're playing a Thatcher. Thatcher, for the most part, loses a lot of its importance, whereas IQ will always be useful. So you're usually going to want, depending on the objective, one support operator, even though it, honestly you could never go wrong with a support. Next is the fragging operator. So that is your Glaz, your Fuse, your Blackbeard, your Finka. These are a much more lenient type. Um, you're not really ever gonna need a fragging operator. Um, Next is your shield operators, your Blitz, your Montaigne. Like I said with the frag, these guys are much more open, they're lenient. You don't need to take a shield operator. Next you have the disruptive operators, which are your Jackal, Ying, Capitao, Dokkaebi, and Lion. Once again, the attackers are very different from the defenders, where it's much more clear cut. You know, you need one or two roamers, you need maybe one or two semi roamers slash anchors. You can flip flop between the anchors and the semi anchors, who you want to put where, and you need at least two roamers. Whereas the offense, it is a whole different ball game, much more diverse operators, and you can really mix and match. Who you want to play and who you want in your lineup. But for the disruption operators, these are the guys that will make the defenders move, will make them disoriented, will give you a better chance of completing your objective, whether it's hostage, bomb, or secure area. These guys are really important, and there's a lot of times in a game where it doesn't seem like they make much of a difference, but making one defender move if you track them with Jackal, or making one defender flash with Ying, or make them stand still for 3 seconds with Lion, it could be a huge difference in this game we all are trying to learn, that is Rainbow Six Siege. So overall, what do you need in a team composition for attackers? Number one, no matter what happens, you always need at least one hard breacher, rather a Habana or a Thermite. If you do not have one of those two, you've basically given up. It's hard to say that, but it truly is. Next, this is where it gets a bit interesting. You're going to want at least one support operator that is a Thatcher, a Twitch, or an IQ. You're going to want at least one soft breacher to get through, like I said earlier, those unreinforced walls, those castle barricades, etc. So that's going to be your Sledge, your Sophia, sorry, I got to get there, your Ash, and then your Buck. You're going to almost always want one of those. And then right from here is where it gets really whatever your preference for your team is. You can rather bring a fragging operator in Glaz, Blackbeard, Fuse, or Finka. You can bring a shield in Blitz and Monty, maybe if you're going for a quick plant. Disruption, Ying, Jackal, Dokkaebi, Lion, Capitao. That would be my number one suggestion, is try and get a disruption operator in there. Try and get a Jackal to get rid of those roamers and get them on edge. Try and get a Dokkaebi to send out those phone calls and get them maybe focused away from that door for a second so you guys can rush in and kill them. But really, from there, your final two operator slots, or your final one if you decide to take two hard breachers or two support operators or whatever, is completely up to the players on your team and what kind of a strategy you guys are going for. If you guys are going for, okay, we're going to go and we're going to open up the wall with a Thermite or a Habana, and we're going to walk through and we're going to try and capture the hostage, or we're going to try to plant the bomb, we're going to try to secure the objective, then you might want to go something like a Monty, where it's a good shield operator, or you're going to want to go a Ying, where you can get them flashed. But if you're going to go for, hey, we don't really care about the objective, we just want to get the kills, it's the easiest way to kill, or the easiest way to win the round, then you might want to go a more of a fragging operator, like a Blackbeard, who's very good at holding down angles, a glass with his high-powered rifle. Even maybe another disruption like a Dokkaebi or a lion to get them distracted while you go through and get the kill. Attack is a much more open experience. So guys, I really hope this helped out most of you. I know that my time in Overwatch, I have no clue what's going on, and I'm sure there's a lot of you that you picked up Rainbow for a sale or something, or your friend suggested it, and you get on there, and you have all these diverse characters. You don't know who's good, who's bad, who's in the meta, who's not in the meta. You don't know what their specific roles are, air quote roles. You don't know their playstyle, etc., etc. So I'm really hoping that this kind of helped you not only kind of learn which the operators are. I didn't really get into depth on the operators specifically, but I kind of tried to get into the team composition. And I'm hoping that when you're playing a game, if you realize, oh wait, we don't have a thermite, or we don't have a Habana, maybe I should pick up that thermite. Even if I do risk maybe I don't get to play a shield, like a blitz. I mean, at the end of the day though, we still have a thermite. We still have a chance to breach that reinforced wall, to get into the objective. I just really hope that that helped you guys out, because I know that I've been struggling with it in Overwatch, and there's not many really people that are covering these kind of topics for brand new beginners on team composition and operators, who's good, who's bad, etc. So if this video goes well, does well, which I'm assuming it will, and I might just make this a second video just for fun, but my plan is soon to make a second video kind of going into depth on each operator, saying currently currently in the meta, which will probably be during Grim Sky then, but currently in the meta, who is good, who is bad, what you can do with each of them, their gadgets, their weapons, etc. So I really hope this helped you guys. Definitely leave a comment on stuff I can improve on, or any questions that you guys have. But definitely leave me with in the comments with any ideas, etc. But hope you guys have a great day. Hope you guys can leave a like on the video, and we'll see you next time, broskies.